Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Justina and here I like to make, create, and inspire fun art things with you through my DIYs. So as you see by today's title and clicking on today's video, we have our first DIY video for 2025, and yes, it is Valentine's theme. You can never be too early, especially as a crafter, to get started on the next holiday season, which happens to be Valentine's Day. I have the quickest, easiest DIYs that you can do for this Valentine's Day season for decor or even for a gift. Before we get started, if you're new here and you haven't yet subscribed, I hope you do that today. All you have to do is click on that big red subscribe button down below. It is totally free, but don't forget to click on the bell notification so that YouTube can always notify you every time I upload a new video. Plus, we would love to have you here, part of our virtual art family. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for being here and clicking on today's video, but don't forget to do all the YouTubey things, which is like this video, comment down below which one was your favorite, and also share to at least one friend. Now, with all that being said, let's just jump right into it and let's art today. This DIY is super simple. All you're going to need really is a canvas painted any color you like. As you see here, I had a white canvas and I just painted it black. And next, I have these wooden conversation hearts. I purchased mine from Amazon, but Dollar Tree does carry conversation hearts. I believe they're in sticker form. But as you see here, I purchased mine from Amazon. 300 of these came in a pack, and I just love that they're wooden, so they're very versatile for any type of DIY. Next, I'm just taking a pencil and I'm sketching in a heart in the center of my canvas. Once again, you can paint your canvas however you like. This would look perfect with all type of pastel colors or even red for the Valentine's Day season. Next, I'm placing those conversation hearts right on top of my canvas because then I am going to start gluing them down using my hot glue gun. I am starting at the bottom of the heart that I sketched in, and then I will work my way all the way to the top. This works best for me, but you could pretty much start anywhere. Now, if you're working with little ones, I think this would be a cute craft for them. You can always use school glue so that they don't burn their little fingers. And as you see here, I am not going in a particular pattern. I'm just laying them out, making sure I don't have the same color next to one another. I will continue gluing all of my conversation hearts until I get completely around. And I just want to mention, I only did the outline of the heart that I drew in, as you see here. You can always fill in your heart with more conversation hearts or even paint in the center, but I chose not to. Next, as you see, I did flip over my canvas and I took an X-Acto knife and started cutting around the edges of the canvas. I wanted to remove the canvas from the frame that it is stapled on, but you can always leave yours on if that's what you are looking for. Now, this did take quite some finagling to do because those staples were in there pretty tough. However, I did just continue to cut until the canvas was off. Now that I have both pieces separated from one another, you have this beautiful wooden frame that is in this natural color. I like it, however, I wanted something brighter, so I am going to use my very new Apple Barrel multi-surface paint in the color Wisteria. This is such a nice vibrant purple, and as you see here, I just poured it right onto my picture frame and I'm painting it on. This did need about 2 coats, and with the 2 coats you still see some of that wood grain showing through, which I absolutely love. Then once I was done painting, I did set this off to the side to completely dry so we can move on to the next step, which is adding it back onto the canvas. As you see here, I'm just dry fitting it, trying to make sure exactly where I want that canvas to lay underneath the frame. And to attach my frame to my canvas, I'm just using my Gorilla Glue stick, hot glue gun, and placing it all on the back of that picture frame. I am gently picking it up, making sure I don't burn my fingers, making sure it is nice and centered, and then I will push down firmly. I do flip it over and then push down firmly again, making sure that all of that hot glue on the canvas and on the wooden frame is attached to one another. Next, I am taking my X-Acto knife again and cutting off the excess canvas that is hanging on the edges of my frame. And the last thing I wanted to add to this picture was a hanger. I'm just using a ribbon and hot gluing the ribbon down to the back of the canvas, but you can always use an eye hook or a picture frame hook if you would like to. And once that was dry, that completes this DIY. I really loved how simple and easy this DIY was to make, and anyone pretty much of all ages can do this DIY. Once again, if you have really little ones, I suggest using some school glue, but nonetheless, this came out really cute. Leave me a comment down below if you like it as well. For our next DIY, I have two different types of ribbon here. They're both satin ribbon, but they're two different colors. One's red, one's black. I'm just going to work with the red one. You're also going to need a pair of scissors, a card of some sort, a lighter, and your hot glue gun, and a bamboo stick or a dowel, but I will show you that later. After you unravel your ribbon, then you're going to take the card and you're going to start wrapping it around the card long ways. You want to go about 8 to 10 times around. That way it's easy to cut it off when it's time. After you have the amount that you like, then take your pair of scissors, cut off the excess. Then you're going to slide your scissors right up against the card so that you can cut off both ends. You're going to have a good amount on both sides, and this is roughly around 5 to 6 inches of each of those ribbons. After you have enough, you're going to take that lighter and you're going to burn the edges so that it will not fray open as you create a little petal, is what we're doing here, because we're going to be creating roses. Now, I saw this trick on Pinterest where you can burn the ribbon together and it will glue itself onto itself, but it was not working good for me, so then I just opted out and started using my hot glue gun. So as you saw there, I burned the edges and then I pull it onto itself, and then I pull it again onto itself. And then I'm going to take a little bead of hot glue and press it down so that both edges can glue down. I know that's really hard, but as you see here, hopefully you can see exactly what I'm doing, and then you can create some of your own. Now, depending on how big you want your rose is depending on how many petals you make. I suggest making about 20 petals to make a really nice full rose. The first 10 you want to start gluing together, as I will show you here. You're going to add a little bit of hot glue to the folded edges, and then you're going to add the next petal right on top of that glue. You're going to do it for all 10 of those petals that we just made, and make sure to make them as straight as possible. You're going to have a little bit of curvature, which is completely fine, but try to make them as even as possible. After you have all of your petals glued onto each other, then you're going to flip it around. This is the side with no folds. That's because this is going to be the center of our rose. This is where the dowel comes in, or your bamboo stick. You're going to add a little bead of hot glue and then add your stick to the center, and then start rolling your rose petals along your dowel as you see here. Now, once again, you can use a bamboo stick or a dowel, but I suggest using a bamboo stick because it is lighter and it's easier to roll around. Even though the dowel was thick, it kind of made the rose a little bit thicker. I added more hot glue and just kept rolling the rose onto the dowel, and once you hit the end, you're going to press down firmly so all of that hot glue adheres down. Here's the center of the rose. You can stop here and have these little rose buds, which is absolutely gorgeous, but I wanted a more fuller rose, so I made another 10 petals, and I'm just going to add it to the outside of my rose bud. Now, remember, the folds are on the inside and you're gluing the side with no folds. That way it can look like rose petals all on the outside. Once again, once you hit the outside of it, you're going to pinch it so everything adheres together. And here is our nice little rose. I think it's absolutely adorable, but we're going to add a little bit more embellishments. For the center of my rose, I just have this pearl bead in my crafting stash that I'm going to add to the center of my rose, and I'm just using hot glue to attach that down. I just think it is super adorable. Now you can make a bunch of these and make a whole bouquet of roses, but for this DIY I'm just making the one. Now to dress it up even more, I have some of this red mesh ribbon in my collection. I believe I purchased this at Dollar Tree, and they have all different types of colors, but I went with the red one. I just cut down a long piece, and then I am folding it into these little triangles, and then I'm trying to place them around my rose. Now I am not the best decorator when it comes to flower arrangements, but there are so many other videos that you can possibly watch to maybe get a better looking one. But all I did, once again, like I said, made these little triangles, folded it around my rose, and then I'm pushing all of that mesh up to my rose so it looks nice and full around it. Now to hold it into place, I did use a combination of hot glue and also a little ribbon, as you see here, this baker's twine, and I wrapped it around my rose and tied a knot. That way it is nice and secured around my dowel. Now you can always paint your dowel or wrap it with some green ribbon so it looks like a stem, but I opted out to add some tissue paper on the end of it just to cover it up and make it look like a nice wrapped little flower. I'm tying some more of that baker's twine around the middle, tying it into a knot so that it's nice and secure on the dowel, and lastly I am hot gluing this little bow right into the center, and that completes this DIY. I absolutely love how this turned out. I know it's just one rose, but like I mentioned before, you can make a bunch of these and make it into a nice full bouquet and give it to one of your friends, your loved ones, or yourself for Valentine's Day. I would love to know what you think about this DIY down in the comment section below. For our next DIY, you're going to need a cardboard heart. Any type of cardboard heart you can use. Dollar Tree carries a bunch of these, but they are on the smaller side. I have this old one that I received in previous years that I just have left over in my crafting stash that I will be using. Now I'm just using the bottom of it, and as you see here, I am adding some black acrylic paint to the inside of my cardboard heart. I do give it about 2 coats so that everything is nice and opaque and you don't see none of that white showing through the bottom. After it had time to completely dry, it does look like this, and I absolutely love it. But I did flip it around and I gave about 2 to 3 coats to the back side of the heart as well. Now this is optional. You don't have to paint the back of your heart if you don't want to. I just wanted it so it gives it a nice completed look. After my box had time to fully dry, here's how it looks completely done, and I absolutely love it. Once again, it's totally optional. Next, I made a bunch more of those silk roses, this time in red and black, that I want to add to my box. Now, I left the dowel rod really long until I decided that I needed to cut it down all the way so that I can start hot gluing those roses into the box. Now, I'm just adding hot glue to the bottom of the roses and pushing them down firmly, making sure that everything is adhered down. Once again, I'm using Gorilla Glue and regular hot glue sticks for this, and it works nicely. Now, I was trying to go in a pattern, but it wasn't working out, so I'm just putting all of my roses sporadically into 1/2 of my chocolate box here. Now, once again, you can make so much more and fill up the whole thing. I think that would look beautiful as well, but I'm just doing 1/2 of it. For an added detail, once again, I wanted to add a pearl bead to the center of each one of the roses, so I'm just adding a little bit of hot glue to the center, and then I'm pushing the bead into it, and this just gives it a more higher end look. After I was done gluing all of the beads in the center of the roses, here is how our box looks thus far. Absolutely gorgeous, but we need to fill in the second half of our chocolate box, and what is best to add than chocolates to our chocolate rose box. I have some of these chocolates. I'm pretty sure you know what they are. They are really delicious, and I'm just adding them sporadically on this side of the box, trying to space them out evenly. I will also add another type of chocolate in between those so that it's nice and full. Now, to attach my chocolates to the box, I am using these glue dots, but you can always use hot glue, tape, or balloon dots if you can find them at your Dollar Tree. I always fear that if I use hot glue, it will melt the chocolate, so that's why I'm using these glue dots. Just adding it to the back sides of the chocolate, peeling off the little tab, and then sticking them down firmly. I do this for each one of the chocolates, and once they are all down, that completes this DIY. These came out so beautiful. I know I would be so ecstatic receiving one of these gift boxes for Valentine's Day. Remember, you don't always have to use chocolate on that side. You can always write a poem and put it in there. But I absolutely loved how this one turned out, and I would love to know what you think about this DIY down in the comment section below. Moving right into our next DIY, I have this square canvas that I had in my crafter's stash, which I don't know what that paper was, but I tossed that to the side. Remember, you can always find canvases at Dollar Tree. Next, I want to paint my canvas using this electric blue from my new painting set, and I just place it right onto my canvas. Remember, you do not have to paint this way, but since this is just going to be a solid color and I don't want to dirty up more stuff, I just add the paint right onto my canvas and then I paint it on. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with this DIY because I had a different idea that I had in my head, but when I made it into reality, it did not execute well. But I still think it's a cute idea, so if you do a much better job than I did, I think it would turn out much better. However, I still think it's a cute idea and I still wanted it to share it with you. Now, I did add 2 coats to my canvas, making sure that it was nice, bright, and vibrant, and I do paint the edges of my canvas just to give it a nice finished look. I do have this puffy paint in my crafting stash that I believe I got on clearance, and I just thought it was a perfect color combination with the blue that I chose. And I just love how vibrant they are. They are all pastel colors, as you see here, but most of the colors kind of match when I actually put it down on the canvas. So that is one thing that I think I messed up. I just added too many colors. I should have just stuck with maybe 3 to 4 instead of the whole palette of colors. Next, I did add some washi tape down to my canvas because I needed to space it out evenly. In hindsight, this was an unnecessary step and it just took longer to do. So if you recreate this, you do not have to do this step. Now, I'm going to make little hearts all in the boxes that I am creating. Once again, in hindsight, I should have just made the hearts a little bit bigger and less colors. That way it can fill up more space and maybe not look so muddy and crowded, but I continued making those boxes. Now, as you saw, I did use one of the tapes to add as my measurement. That way I can add another piece of tape on top to make these little boxes. Once again, they were not even, so they didn't even help me out with the spacing. Nonetheless, I started making the hearts with my puffy paint. I really like this idea and I should have took my time more because some of the hearts kind of just look smushed and not really like hearts, but I wasn't in the right mindset when making this craft, obviously. So I will continue adding all of these little hearts in all different colors and all these different squares. Once I have all of these squares filled up with the puffy paint, then I will start removing the tape off of the canvas and then start adding more of the hearts to the unpainted areas. And I had no rhyme or reason about where I place each color heart. I just really wanted them to be random and sporadic. Once I was done filling up my whole canvas, that completes this DIY. I mentioned before, I have a love-hate relationship because the idea is good, but I really don't like how I execute it. However, I think you guys can do a much better job than I did, but I still would like to know what you think about this DIY down in the comment section below. Alright friends, that completes today's DIYs for you. I had a blast making each and every one of these except for the last one, but I might just peel off the paint and see if I can recreate this later. Nonetheless, I really did enjoy each one of these, and I would love to know which one was your favorite down in the comment section below. I am super excited that this is our first DIY video for this year, and I have so many ideas to keep pumping out to you guys. So if you are new here and you haven't yet subscribed, I hope you do that today. All you have to do is click on that big red subscribe button down below. It is totally free, but don't forget to click on the bell notification so that YouTube can always notify you every time I upload a new video. Plus, we would love to have you here, part of our virtual art family. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for being here and clicking on today's video. I do appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to do all the YouTubey things, which is smash that thumbs up button, share to at least one friend, and comment down below. It really does help out my channel. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and as always, I will see you in the next one.